Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Welcome back, Jen.
Thanks, Dave. I'm back.
You are back. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Dave and Jen back together again. High five through the Zoom. We are back. Back podcasting. You have been traversing the Northern Hemisphere, it feels like. It's really funny because you've been to two places, only two, but it feels like you've been like 17 different destinations and you've been gone 6 weeks. And you've been gone, what, 10 days? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I've been gone, yeah, it was just so crazy. Well, because, you know, of course, I had Earmark Summit, which always a highlight of my year. Of course. Obviously with it starting on the Monday, like, why would you not leave on the Friday before and just take advantage of a few days in the parks? I mean, why would you not do that? So yeah, had some great food, had a great time, and then had a wonderful conference. So, and then, then it was like back, quick turnaround down to Mexico. So there was a lot.
And you were at a Mexico resort down there doing a conference also with travel agent owners. And so, it was fun watching the pictures and watching all the recaps and everything. But I'm like, man, Jen's been gone forever, and she's been gone 10 days. But it really has felt like you've been gone.
But it felt. Weeks. I mean, but it does feel like a long time.
And I felt bad for you because I know, again, first world problems. I'm having to travel for my job.
I know, right?
That's so sad. But at the same time, it's tiring and it's exhausting. And there comes a point where you're like, I just want to wake up in my own bed. I want to put my head down on my pillow, take my shower, eat my food on my couch, and just, whatever. And so you're finally getting some of that. So congratulations. Welcome
Thank
back.
you.
So how did you Disney this week? Or you can even say last week. You can encompass it all together.
Well, okay. First of all, I do have to show, I got to unblur my background, but one of the ways I Disneyed, you see that penguin right there?
I see that penguin right there.
You see him? I added him to my room because it's very important that we have the Mary Poppins penguin to go on my Mary Poppins wall.
Of course.
But more specifically, in the past couple of days, I've been making dining reservations for my New Year's Eve trip, because we need to eat, and we need to eat at good places.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Eating is a good thing on New Year's Eve, and getting those reservations early is also a good thing as well. So
correct.
Yeah. So mine is along the same lines. Not really done. Well, I did some dining this week, obviously, but I had a client conversation last night, and it was great because this is a client who didn't know a lot about Disney, and in the conversation, they actually said, forgive me, you're going to have to know, I don't know a lot about what we're doing, and I was like, well, let me show you, and so it was great because for 45 minutes, I literally walked around this office you see behind me, and like I'm talking and my hands are moving and everything. And, they're asking like basic stuff, like rope drop, early entry, whatever. And I'm like, you go to the park, and it was a fun conversation because I was just very animated. And I even told the guy, I was like, if you could see me, I'm basically conducting an orchestra with my hands, just, Disney and everything. And he was asking some questions, and I even stopped him, and I'm like, I don't want to make it sound like you're making this harder than it has to be, but kinda. So
but you are.
This is easy. Let me just, and so it was a lot of fun. I love having those conversations with clients, talking about their trip, and just hoping that my passion for it just comes through, because as much as I love, Turks and Caicos, or as much as I love going down to Cabana Bay, or much as I love going to Mexico, whatever, I can't talk animatedly about that for 45 straight minutes because I'm not that experienced in some of those things. But here I'm just like, oh yeah, you catch the bus and you can look over the screen with the bus times on it. And let me talk about meters real quick. And what so it was fun. It was all
there's something about it, like being passionate about, and I'm passionate about a lot of destinations, but
yes,
Disney was like a first love. So, it's hard to not
fun.
Be animated about that.
But then again, depending on Universal stuff, I can get animated about that too. So I don't want to discount that. I'm just like,
not at all.
Hey, Rip Ride Rocket. Let's talk about this. You got your
Velocicoaster.
Lots of coasters.
Velocicoaster.
Velocicoaster. Yeah, you said Velocicoaster. I was like,
I did say you said lots. I mean, also a lot. But there are lots of coasters.
Yes,
to your
that's
point.
What I think you were going was lots of coasters. I'm like, there sure are, and Velocicoaster is one of them. So it's accurate. Let's get to some news. So since you mentioned Velocicoaster, Jen, and we'll get to some of this a little bit later on because we're going to kind of get your takes on some of the big news stories. But of course, Epic Universe they've released their opening dates. There's opening on May 22nd. The Stella, if I get this right, Stella Nova and Terra Luna. Terra Luna and Stella Nova. Which really sounds like the names of beatnik children from the 60s, by the way. There's a two of the they're two of the they're prime value, I believe. They've changed the designations of the resorts of like what they're for the longest time I knew as value, prime value, premium, and now they've changed them up. And I'm like, which one's which?
I know.
They're the value resorts.
Yes.
They were going to open in February. Now they're opening
regular
in March.
Value.
Yes, regular value.
No, those are prime value.
Is it prime value?
Hang on. Okay, so let me consult our website.
For the listener who are like, do they know what they're talking about? It takes 2 strokes of a keyboard to find this information, but neither one of us have that. We're looking at each other on a Zoom call, and so we're recording, and so I don't have it written down in front of me.
Prime, I was correct. Prime value.
Prime value.
It is prime value.
And what's the next level up? Because Cabana Bay and
no. So we have Universal's Value Inns and Suites, which is Cabana Surfside Dockside.
Okay.
Level up Prime Value.
Oh, so Cabana's now with Surfside and Dockside. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Cabana's with Surfside and Dockside.
Gotcha.
Now it's Stella Nova, Terra Luna, Aventura as Prime Value. And then the Signature Collection, Hard Rock, Portofino, Royal Pacific, which all still get the Express Pass.
Right.
But also we add Sapphire Falls, Helios, which do not qualify.
Right. Sapphire Falls was kind of the upper moderate, but now it's more.
Yes. It was the only preferred.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. I don't know why they didn't put it.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
And I can see them putting Express Pass in that resort. Maybe.
I don't think they will. But
Helios,
so what
of
I'm
course, go ahead.
wondering is just with the amount of rooms. If
true.
Because then you're not selling it. Like it's basically you have to stay there in order to get it, and you're not getting the revenue from it. So,
well, I know that with Helios, it's the brand new resort, and the beauty of that is the fact it opens into Epic Universe. It's a lot like Grand Californian and California Adventure. You just walk straight into the park from where you are. It does not get the Express Pass. The Express Pass has not been included in that. But one of the things about the Epic Universe is they still have not announced how Express Pass will work or if it will work at Epic Universe as a whole. AP holders, annual pass holders, VIP, military, they haven't announced any of that information.
Nothing.
Yet.
We don't know.
They've said that they will announce it before launch, before everything opens, but we don't know anything about it.
But we don't know because I have people interested in acquiring an AP. I mean, current annual pass holders can go ahead and buy their Epic tickets. Right. Like their single day tickets. Right. So yeah.
And I will say, if you're military and you want to go to Universal, by the beginning of the year, and it's what's called the Military Salute Pass or something like that. And again, stroke of a keyboard, I could find it, but it's right there. It's right in front of me. But it's a great pass because it's kind of you just go back as much as you want up until a certain date with a few blockout dates over the course of the year.
Yeah, it's a few.
So it's a really, really great deal, and you get your discounts on resorts if there is availability with that. For the most part, there might be some exclusions.
There might be some exclusions. Yeah, we don't know with like Helio, like I don't know with the new properties what those might be. So.
Right. Call your favorite travel agent. Pick us. Yeah. And we will find this information out for you. Have you seen the animatronics for Dark Universe?
Yes, I have.
They look incredible.
They look amazing. They look amazing. And they put out the Frankenstein castle too, like the lightning struck, it does.
Now, I know they said this is a family friendly area, but if I'm 4 years old, I'm like,
I'm not. If I'm 4, this is a no from me. This is a no from me.
I mean, I know there as I grow up.
It might be a no from me as the age but 40.
I see a werewolf and I'm like, it's a kind of I've seen the old movies, the black and white movies where you can see the zipper on the costume and stuff. So I kind of had that in my head. But these animatronics look so good, but they're scary, freaky looking. I'm like, wow, dude, that's crazy. But that's Epic Universe. Over on the in the scary realm, but over at Disney World, they have released a brand new tiki mug, and I only bring this up because it's the Madame Leota tiki mug available at Trader Sam's, which looks amazing.
It looks so good. I have the sipper from like a couple years ago.
I would imagine it's pretty much gone by now. It's $80 online or $80 in at the stores. I imagine online right now it's probably a lot.
Oh, I'm sure it's crazy.
But it's crazy. But it looks so cool. It looks super cool.
It does look cool.
And I'm gonna have next time you're down there, I'm gonna have to get you to get me one if you don't mind. So that'd be good. Speaking your language here, Jen, the tiki, the gingerbread house at the Grand Floridian.
Yay!
Coming
I love it.
Which we thought it would come back, obviously. Jen, for people listening who aren't familiar with Disney or they don't go to Disney very much during the holidays, what is the Gingerbread House? What are we talking about, Jen?
Gosh, the Gingerbread House, like, first of all, makes the entire lobby smell amazing, right? Because it's like, it is actual gingerbread. Now, yes, there is a wooden frame that they put up underneath.
Right,
You got to have some structure, right? But they sell gingerbread out of it. It is a staple of the Grand Floridian during Christmas. They take down a section of where like the couches and the seating areas are. They erect the wooden structure and then they cover it with, well, when they first put it up, it's fresh gingerbread, actual gingerbread and like the icing or the royal icing, however it is, they, put it all together. And then it is a functional booth and you can go buy delicious gingerbread cookies out of it. And it is so cute. And I love it so much.
It looks really cool. And I mean, I wouldn't suggest walking over and trying to take a bite out of the house. You feasibly could. I mean, no, they do put some lacquer and stuff on it. So it's not as if it's going to like, I'm going to grab a shingle and eat off the house. You
can't do
get sick and trespassed if you do that.
Yeah.
But they sell shingles, like actual life-size shingles for the house. They sell those as gingerbread cookies. There's all kinds of treats and things like that.
Yes.
And you walk into the Grand Floridian. And I will tell you, as much as I don't discount the Grand Floridian. It's not one of my favorite resorts like it is yours, but it's one of my favorite resorts during Christmas. You walk in and you just smell it and you're like, oh, Christmas.
Right.
And it's truly one of those places that I feel Christmas at Disney when I get into the Grand Floridian. It's just,
and between that and the ginormous Christmas tree,
which is like 60 feet tall. It's just amazing. So,
and they have the wreaths everywhere.
They're
it's
decorating.
So pretty.
I mean, they're decorating for Christmas. It hasn't gone up yet. Obviously, Halloween. You'll see a kind of transformation over the next 3 or 4 days in the Magic Kingdom. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. Magic Kingdom kind of gets their stuff first. The other parks start getting their stuff by the middle of the month. By maybe the third week of November, all the resorts. I think we all went as a group last year towards the end of November. I want to say they were putting up the tree at Animal Kingdom Lodge as we were all like the last day we were leaving is when they were putting the tree up, and I was like, oh, we just missed it.
I know we just missed it, but no, like Magic Kingdom, the transformation is amazing because usually they leave fall up November 1st,
right?
But then November 2nd, it's like Christmas, and then the parties start later in the month, usually like the 8th or 9th, just kind of depending, and. Yeah.
Yes. Now, next thing, when we talked about this a few minutes ago before the show, I mentioned it, and I kind of saw the look in your face like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. They're doing a $275 million update to Disney Swan and the Dolphin resorts. Now, before you jump into this, let me just tell everybody to make sure they know this is not a Disney hotel. It is on Disney property.
It is
Disney does not own this hotel. If you go back and look at the history, there was a great architect that came in, and he's the one that designed the dolphin and the swan with the statues on the top. And of course, there were some Disney officials that were like, "That's hideous." And of course, he's like, "No, it looks wonderful." He's one of those eccentric kind of architects. But it eventually was sold to another company.
Was
it Marriott? Maybe
it's a Marriott. So
Marriott
basically, the Swan is similar to a Westin. The Dolphin is similar to a Sheraton.
Yes. So while we say Disney Resort, and you can get a lot of the same discounts and same thing. I'm sorry, not discounts, benefits at these resorts as you can as a regular.
Not
Disney
everything,
resorts.
but a lot.
Not everything, and a lot of the discounts are different though at these resorts. So if you call us wanting to stay at the Swan or Dolphin, we can definitely work through that. I stayed at the Swan, not at the Dolphin. I feel like, and this was several years ago, so things may have changed, but the Dolphin is what has everything. It has a large food court, has the microwave, has all the stuff. Swan's more minimal with a walkway in between. So why were you kind of excited that they were going to put a renovation into this thing?
Well, it needs it, quite frankly. They have done the lobbies prior, like they have done some renovations on it. That was at that point, that was still several years ago. The rooms to me were small and a bit dated. The views for Epcot can be very nice from there, but the rooms there are small. Now that's not going to get fixed with a renovation, okay? Because they're still going to be small. It's not changing the floor plan.
They're double beds at the Dolphin, I think. I think they may be queen at the Swan, but they're double.
I think it's queen at the. I believe that is still accurate. Now, maybe they'll change that. Maybe it will go to double beds at the Dolphin. Who knows? It's possibility. Now, the Swan Reserve, from what I understand, is I have not stayed there, full disclosure, but I've heard that it is a lovely inside. It does also price
and it's fairly new as well, so I can't imagine.
That's only a few. That's only a few years old. I just really think it needs it. Also, keep in mind there is a resort fee, a daily resort fee at the Swan or Dolphin. Now, when booked through the Walt Disney Travel Company, I don't believe that applies because I believe you pay that up front. But if you are just like booking it, through Marriott or whatever, there is a resort fee, and they will not waive it. Nope.
No.
I stayed one night. I paid it. I'm like, I'm not using a tennis court. I'm not using anything. It does not matter.
And they're like, we don't care. Pay it up.
So. Yeah, exactly. It just, like I said, the bathrooms needed some work. I'm a bathroom snob. So yeah, I will be interested to maybe tour it. I still don't want to stay there, but whatever.
Well, it's according to some of the descriptions, they're going to add about 120,000 square feet to the existing meeting and convention spaces across the Swan, the Dolphin, and the Swan Reserve. So they'll be adding to that as well. So they'll have the largest contiguous event space will be 175,000 square feet. That's a big conference area.
That's big.
The expansion will be a 2-story annex at the Dolphin. It'll be the first major expansion since 2003. They'll have an annex that will connect the convention spaces. So you'll walk into the atrium with floor-to-ceiling windows. There's a chandelier, 2-story chandelier, big staircase, whatever. They're doing a 41,000 square foot multi-purpose space and some other spaces as well with state-of-the-art technology for events and things. And they're working on the flow of the space. That will actually start those renovations in November, which is a couple of days from now, and they'll be done with those in 2026. They will also be doing, they'll be updating, modernizing the existing meeting space. They'll be working on the ballrooms, the corridors, the carpets, the walls. So they'll be upgrading some of those with new schemes, new color schemes. That'll be done by next summer. And the guest rooms in the Swan Hotel will be remodeled. New modern guest rooms will feature luxury tile flooring. So that'll be done. Nice. It says in 2024 is what I'm reading. I mean, 2024 is almost over.
Soft goods refurbs. But 2024. Oh, I don't know about that. Maybe they meant 2025.
It possibly meant 2025 but if all they're doing is just those things, I mean, but then again, 2024 again is 2 months from now, and it's one of those. Yeah, I'm aware that once you get through November into Thanksgiving, past Thanksgiving, you really have about 2 weeks worth of basically viable space to work with before you start getting into people are taking off for Christmas and people are going on Christmas trips and holidays and stuff. So really, Jen, if it's a travel agent, we'll stop working probably early December, I'm sure. Yeah,
probably.
Just kidding. Hey, I've done dining on Christmas Day for guests before.
Listen, I have too. I totally have. And Christmas Eve,
I'm like, you might as well. I mean, nobody's up, so why not go ahead and do it? A bit of sad news, and this is a rumor, and I say rumor very strongly. Okay. I only mention this because I've seen this mentioned at 4 or 5 different spots, not just one spot. There is a big rumor out there that Jellyrolls will be closing permanently to possibly possibly put in a new jazz club there. Now, at the boardwalk. It's off in the corner, and you see the big sign with a big rounding sign that says Jellyrolls as it rounds the corner.
Yep, it's right next to the Atlantic Dance Hall.
Exactly, and you walk in, and it's really just a really fun environment. It's for adults and everything, but it's the fun environment with music and dancing and just all kinds of fun stuff. And so, now dance hall, is that the one with the dueling pianos, or is that Jellyrolls?
No, Jellyrolls is the dueling pianos, and then Atlantic Dance Hall.
That's the one with the
at this point they play it's a big dance space. They use it like a DJ that's playing music videos.
Honestly, I'd rather get rid of the Atlantic Dance Hall. Keep Jellyrolls.
Same.
I think Jellyrolls is a dueling piano bar, and I couldn't remember which one was which. I'll be honest with you, but that makes me even more sad now to get rid. It's a dueling piano. You walk up, you put $1, you put a couple bucks on the piano.
I think this is a misstep. I think it's a misstep.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like a good jazz club. Turn Atlantic Dance Hall into and make it a jazz dance club. Go for that all day long because I am fine. I'm fine with making an adjustment, but I don't know. Jellyrolls.
And I would love to get Kyla's take on this too, because she's a big Jellyrolls. She loves Jellyrolls, and the only reason I've been there is I've been there with her and part of our group and everything. Yeah, the only reason I ever go to Jellyrolls. But I love the dueling piano concept.
I love dueling
pianos.
Great
music in there. It's a small place. It's kind of tight. It's intimate and everything. It's not, which is great. It's not smoky and things like that, like a lot of bars, obviously.
Well, right.
Dance hall is just a wide open space. It feels like I'm in Panama City walking into a club. There's a DJ and a bunch of people.
Basically.
It just feels like at the beach club, pretty much. Not the beach club at Disney.
And it has changed over the years. Yeah, that's not exactly how it used to be. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I feel and I feel as if they've never really gone back to what it used to be or tried to replicate that. So they've just made it a wide open dance space. Change that into a jazz club, or at least put in some spots where you can make it into a jazz club for part of the week. And then, the other part of the week, do the dance hall, do whatever. But not a fan. If you hear that whirring, by the way, that's the garage below me. My wife has just returned home from a meeting downtown. So that's the garage, just in case you're
nice.
Last thing in news here, the Dino Land Resorts, I wish. The Dino Land area, they've now issued permits for rebuilding the Dino Land area. Some of the major permits. We know, and Jen, I know you're going to be sad about Triceratops Spin going away. but it is going away.
Yeah.
In January, the Chester
So
and Hester
sad.
the game. Have you ever played any of the games?
I
Any of the
did
carnival games?
during a
Did you?
DVC event one time.
Okay,
One time, the one where you squirt the water.
right. Well,
That's it.
like honestly, if you had asked me off the street, hey, how do you play those games?
No
I would
idea.
have to think about like you can't just because you can't just walk up and give cash. You have to go into the shop to get buy tokens,
Think
take the
you have to get
tokens to the carnival.
tokens, I
Yeah,
think.
and then
Yeah.
whatever. And it's just like so that whole thing's going away. The Boneyard is staying. Restaurantosaurus is staying. Right now. Of course, Dinosaur the ride is staying as well.
Of course.
The gift shop is going away. Now that's a fun little gift shop. You walk
That
in
is
there,
a cute little gift shop.
I don't know if you've ever noticed there's a train that runs through the
Oh,
top
yeah.
there. Yeah, it runs all the way through it and everything, and it plays outside. You'll hear one of three songs: "Digging Up Bones" by Randy
Uh-huh.
Travis, "Walking the Dinosaur" by Was Not Was, or "Jealous Bone" by Patty Loveless. You hear those three songs
Yep.
all the time because they feature the word bone and skeleton and
Right.
fossils and whatever, right? So I figure if you wanted to be a Disney legend, you would come up with a great song for
Yeah.
dinosaurs and paleontology, and you could have gotten played there, but that's going
Right.
away. So how are we feeling about Dino Land going away? Are you okay with the whole land just kind of
I'm okay with
disappearing,
it.
or are you?
I'm okay with it. Only, I mean, the ride when it was CTX, it was better
Mhm.
than now with
Yep.
Dinosaur. The problem is it's dated, and
Yes. Yeah.
they have sort of let it go a little bit. I
Yeah.
think it was a great concept of a ride. I don't dislike the ride.
Right.
I just, but the rest of the area, I felt like they built up the rest of the area to just have something to put in there. And
Right.
like, aside from
Right.
the ride itself, like with the dinosaur ride, the rest of it was just kind of like, okay, and Restaurantosaurus. Okay. You
Right.
know, they kept the theme, but it wasn't like, oh, this is so great. And that medieval or primeval world's been gone for
Couple of years now.
ever.
And that's how you knew that something else was going to go there because they just kept that wide open
They
space.
just kept it wide.
open.
Yeah.
They put picnic tables out there and then they blocked it off. And
I
it's like,
think that
okay,
they will
yeah.
I think that this will be a good update for
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom.
I'm mixed on it, and I think you're right. I think it's going to be a great update. I'm looking forward to what they're doing
Yeah.
with Encanto. I look forward to what they're doing with Indiana Jones.
Yeah, absolutely.
My problem is and this goes to an over a longer conversation, which maybe we can have
Right.
on another episode. But there is a storytelling aspect that is at Dino Land that I don't think
Mhm.
you're going to have at Tropical Americas because there's an
Agreed.
entire
That's
backstory
true.
of Chester and Hester. Who
Hester's
used to have a roadside
Dinorama.
stand and restaurant. I mean, like the
Mhm.
whatever, and they had all these carnival games and everything until the interstate was
Yeah.
built. And when the interstate was built, all the traffic went away, and now it's just a roadside carnival that people barely go to. But that's why the dinosaurs there. That's why it's carnival games and stuff. And so that's why the little cheesy signs were everywhere because it was reminiscent of a 50s or 60s roadside
Yeah.
carnival. And they kind of just stopped telling that story. They just like, okay, it's
Right.
Chester and Hester, whatever, And so most people don't even know what that means. They ignore the sign, or
Exactly.
they're like, "It's Chester and Hester. Is that a Imagineer? I don't know what
Is
that
that like,
means,
what is
right?"
this? Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
and Disney has this habit of, which I kind of understand. If they know they're not going to, if they know
Yeah.
they're going to replace a ride, they duct tape it until it's done. Great movie, ride.
They
Great
patch it
example.
up. Yep,
Patch it up,
exactly.
and Splash Mountain, same thing. And I kind of feel like they've done that with Dino Land for years. So
Yeah.
if you're not going to
Mhm.
update it, get it out of here. So
Exactly.
I want to talk about some news stories and stuff that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks because some of these and obviously some small stuff we don't have to go back to,
Yeah.
but I want to get your take on some of these things because
Sure.
we haven't really heard your thoughts on some of these. And maybe we'll talk
Absolutely.
about your perfect day as well. The cake bake. Now, for the listener, a lot of these stories came out in the last 2 weeks. Kyla was joining us, which, by the way,
Right.
love having Kyla on. She's got an
Absolutely.
incredible voice. People love her. I get compliments on her. I'm like, hey, she's great. She's wonderful. Honestly, I think that if it was Kyla and Jen's show, you guys would be like the top of the iTunes charts and podcasting.
Oh gosh.
I'm glad I'm still here. I'm glad you haven't pushed me out yet, Jen. Just give me
Oh
another
my
chance, please.
gosh.
But,
Hear the martyrdom, guys. Hear the
so
martyrdom.
we will talk about some of the big stuff from the last 2
Yeah.
weeks. Cake bake, of course, being one of the big ones. They
Yeah.
came out, the prices were just outrageous, and then they lowered the
They
prices
were
and
a
such.
lot.
Now you tried to get to the cake bake shop
We did.
recently, and apparently it didn't work.
Right before
maybe?
Summit, we tried because we were there that weekend before, and we were like, maybe it's open. Like maybe it'll be open. And like I Googled it and it says open. I was like, really? So
Right.
I mean, we were in Epcot. So I mean, just walked out the back door. It was not open. Spoiler alert, it was not. But we tried.
So I had a listener, and she's a friend of mine, but her name is Laura, Laura Hall, and she actually moved to Florida recently, and they have they have annual passes and stuff. And she was asking about what I thought about the cake bake, and and we kind of talked about the pricing because the big thing has been the pricing.
Exactly.
And of course, one thing you have to remember is this is not a Disney owned.
It is not. This is a franchise or a chain or a chain.
A third party has owned this. But she was telling me too that the actual person who owns the Cake Bake Shop was there at her time of visit. She talked to her, and they only have a couple of restaurants. And this proprietor is extremely proud of what they do, extremely proud of their wares and what they make and everything like that. And so my friend Laura was like, I kind of understand this pricing because everything is made so well and so good and just all those things. So I'm going to run through real quick. I'm not going to read everything she sent me, but she sent me her review of this. Basically, I got to get to the top of here as I'm scrolling. She said basically it's an absolute treat and an absolute treasure for lunch. Blown away by the enchanting beauty of this lovely restaurant and bakery. We waited 20 minutes for a reservation. We walked right up because, of course, it's not open yet. The owner or the manager is named Gwen. She said they met Gwen, and Gwen took pictures with him and was just so happy and so excited. One thing, and this is one thing I think people don't know, is this is a sit-down restaurant with an actual full menu of food. This is not just a pastry shop or, where a walk up where you just go get cake and pastries and whatever. It's decorated beautifully, incredible chandeliers everywhere, just how gorgeous it is. Let's see. They have a signature cosmopolitan that was refreshing, not too sweet, not too bitter. The balance was spot on. The orange notes in the drink was my favorite. They had edible pixie glitter there. The waiter had his own bottle of pixie glitter.
Oh my gosh.
Food. They started with the chicken velvet soup. The savory chicken dish was a 10 out of 10. It was delicious. The entrees included the broccoli quiche with a side of a blackberry avocado salad. Her husband ordered the shrimp po' boy with fries. The portions are very large. They could have shared it. But she's like, I'm glad I got the quiche because it was delicious. She said the crust was prepared with vodka, and you have to experience it. And she said it was perfect. That's what she's saying.
Interesting.
With that, exactly.
Okay.
The po' boy, of course, was enormous. The bread was Cajun inspired. The bread for this Cajun inspired sandwich is flown in from New Orleans daily. So there is some of that. Makes me think of Viennapoli, how they fix it based on the ingredients from Italy. The cake, they ordered Gwendolyn's award-winning Earl's Court chocolate cake. Gwen again visited the table, and she talked to him and everything just for a few minutes or whatever. They were presented with this giant-sized piece of chocolate cake. Zach. The waiter sprinkled it with a glitter pixie dust, of course. She said it was what chocolate cake dreams are made of. They had a scoop of vanilla ice cream to go with it. It was all prepared in-house. It's creamy. It's delicious. Some of the best stuff I've ever had there at Disney. They had to take some of it with it because there was so much. They even get like a beautiful reusable bag trimmed in gold with the Cake Bake Shop's logo once they were given everything. So there is a lot of that. She said, the people need to try this. Don't be so intimidated by the pricing. Share dishes, get a bite here, get a bite there, whatever, but don't be freaked out about the prices. Just go try it, which I'm looking forward to trying it.
I'm excited to try it. I can't wait.
It's not something I want to drop $95 in for dinner. But it's something I do want to try because, I know you will, because you're also somebody who loves narcooses. You love,
but that's my thing. Fine dining is that's my souvenir. That's part of it.
And I think that's wonderful. I'm not, I can't poke fun of you that at all. I think that's great. That's one of your things. And for me, fine dining is good, but it's not something
you don't value that as much as I do.
Exactly. So, but I also stay at Pop Central on a regular basis, and you're like, what is that? And so, Cake Bake Shop idea. I'm hearing that. Are you excited about visiting? Thoughts on the pricing, on the menus?
I'm very excited. I thought it was interesting with like the whole price adjustment thing. That was probably a good call, just from a standpoint of publicity or whatever. All publicity is good publicity, but especially that.
Right.
I'm extremely excited to try it. I think it sounds amazing. It sounds like it's right up my alley. Based on your friend's review, I cannot wait to eat there. That's going to be a priority for me. Getting down there. And of course, a lot of us are down there at the beginning of December, and I am staying through until the treasure because I'm going on that treasure sailing. So it's very possible on that Wednesday that I will, pop over there with Brady whenever he gets into town. And
I'm hoping we can go in December. I'm hoping we can go as a group or whatever. Just go over and try some stuff and just sit down and have a quick meal or whatever. And if not, the boardwalk, the Blue Ribbon Corn Dog kiosk is right down the boardwalk. We can all go get a pickle dog. We get a jalapeno. They've now got mozzarella sticks. If ever there was something that personified the calories don't count at Disney, it's got to be those mozzarella sticks. Because I would imagine in the real world, that is 3,000 calories because it's nothing but pure cheese and batter.
I do like mozzarella sticks.
But do you like it when it's a foot long?
No.
It's like Nothing but
That's
a block
too
of
much.
cheese.
She's like, who's eating a block of cheese? Like,
I mean, maybe they figure everybody will eat this and they can save money on toilet paper later. Anyway, let's go to the Premier Pass. The Premier Pass, of course, that news on this thing dropped. We were now, granted, Jenn was not like incommunicado. She wasn't like on the other side of the world.
yeah.
We all talked to Jenn on a regular basis. She just wasn't on the show. So it wasn't if I didn't get your reviews and we talked about some of this online and phone calls, whatever.
Yeah.
You just weren't here to be recording with us. So
Mm-hmm.
the Premier Pass, your thoughts on the Premier Pass when it dropped and like the whole concept of it. I want to hear your take on it.
Well, it's interesting because I was actually sitting with a bunch of agency owners at that
That's
point.
right. You were
Later,
there.
I was
there.
actually down there whenever it dropped. And honestly, I get sometimes whenever. Okay, let me back up. Anytime Disney releases something new, it's like it causes consternation. Yep. Correct. It costs money, not something free. It causes consternation and immediately people get like defensive or whatever. And I think people looked and maybe saw some sticker shock. And here was my point, and this is what I said. We have begged for this. We have been begging for something that would be, and we'll just say it, similar, an answer to Universal's Express Pass, right? We have been looking for that. Now, this is a pilot program. Do I think it's
pilot
perfect?
program?
No.
Huge
pilot program. Okay.
Yep.
Do I think it's perfect? No. Do I think there are going to be adjustments? Yeah. Let's look at when FastPass rolled out way back in the day. When was that?
2013.
13. Okay, 2013.
Well, no, that was Magic Bands. The FastPasses were like 2004, 2005, 6.
Oh,
like that.
well, no, but I'm sorry. The digital FastPasses, not the paper FastPasses have been around. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But whenever the digital FastPasses rolled out and when Magic Bands rolled out, it was a train wreck. Everybody remembers like this, or maybe we've forgotten now, but it was a train wreck. Okay. And we had to make adjustments, but I think the idea is solid. It's something we begged for. I do think we're going to see adjustments. And really, when you break it down, it is something where, like, okay, so Magic Kingdom is the most expensive, as everybody thought it would be.
Yep.
You break it down, it is like $15 per ride.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, per person, obviously.
Right.
It's not terrible. And if you are someone who was maybe hoping to do a VIP tour, but maybe it's cost prohibitive for whatever reason, or you want to do a VIP day, one day and you want this for another day, this is a great option, a middle of the road option. And, and it's optional. That's the other thing. You can still do the regular, you can still do the normal, lightning lane
multi-pass. We're getting adjusted to it too. I trust.
We're still working. Yeah, I'm like fast. You can just do fast pass. Disney, please, can we just call it fast pass, please? Okay, sorry. The lightning lane multi-pass, single pass. And you can pick and choose. Maybe you're like, one day I do want this. My suggestion would be make it park hopping. Like, or give an option. Like you can add park hopping for $25 per person, something like that. That's my suggestion.
Right.
I would imagine that at some point that might be something that's going to happen. But I think if you are somebody who wants to spend the money on it, this is a really nice option and it's going to help your day go a lot smoother. We have to allow time for the bumps to get worked out, which, listen, there's bumps in any new program. But I think that overall we need to look at it from that lens. This is an exciting new offering that really can enhance your vacation. But if you decide it's not for you, that's okay. And you're still going to have a fantastic trip. There's other options. And if you decide you don't want it at all, let me be real. I go and I never use it. I never use I will use single pass a lot because I just am lazy and I don't want to wait in line or rope drive.
I would say, and I agree with you. And again, for the listeners who've heard our past few episodes, we've talked about this kind of ad nauseum, so I won't go too far back into it. But I did want to get your take on it, and everything you said is exactly correct. And that's the main thing is I just want people to really understand. If you don't get it, this is taking nothing away from your trip.
Nothing at all.
That's the thing is Disney has not replaced anything. They haven't said, you know what, the lightning lane system you liked, we're taking that away. Now you have to pay this much more.
Exactly.
If you don't want it, don't get it. It's not a big deal. If you don't get the regular lightning lane, with the multi-pass, whatever, that might affect your trip a little bit because that's going to affect how often you wait in lines and everything. So that's the decision.
Okay, no, that's a different story.
Right.
That's a different
story.
Story.
But not wanting to add, I don't want to spend $350. Then don't. It's okay. Nothing has been replaced. Nothing's changed. And that's the big thing to remember. My big thing would be not, and I understand why they want to say, well, we can't let people do rides more than once. Because everybody would be a Space Mountain all day.
Correct.
Everybody would be riding Big Thunder all day. So my suggestion was like, if you have those tiers of the lightning lanes, that top tier, you get to ride those attractions one time. The bottom tier as many times as you want. Because honestly,
great thought.
If I'm paying $275 for Epcot, I should be able to ride the Figment ride more than once. I mean, come on. It's Figgy, right?
Figgy!
You won't let me ride Soar more than once. I get it, but I should be able to go to the Pixar Film Festival more than once without waiting in line. And of course, as I mentioned last week, there's no reason I should pay $400 for Magic Kingdom and not go straight to the top of Astro Orbiter. I mean, come on. Or in Epcot, the 3 Caballeros, the Grand Fiesta Tour. I should be able to get straight on that puppy because it's not in the lightning lane. So make those adjustments, and I think we're okay, Disney. So
I think there'll be some adjustments down the road. So everybody just stay tuned. It's going to be fine.
So, all right. So we're running along here, and I know you got to get out of here pretty soon. So I want to run through just real quick your perfect day. Instead of going through all 4 parks, Jen, perfect day. I want you to pick a park. Epcot. Or Magic Kingdom, I'm sure. If you want to pick 2 parks, you can, because I don't know that your perfect day is going to include Animal Kingdom that much. Maybe a stop at Nomad or something, right? And you probably are not going to talk much about Hollywood either. So
I do enjoy Hollywood, but very specifically, like if it's Hollywood, I'm hitting Tower of Terror. I'm going to baseline.
Well, let's do this then. Let's do this. We'll go section by section, and you talk about the parks if you want to say all 3 parks here, and here, or just one park, whatever. First of all, time of the year. What time of the year are you going? What's the perfect time of the year for a week? And this is not an agency trip. It's not a fam. It's not a business. This is you and Brady or whatever. You guys are going on vacation.
I love going early February when it's still Festival of the Arts.
Good time.
Or early March when it's beginning of Flower and Garden. And I'm not like super it has to be like first week of March. I'm not like super picky either way on that, but I'm very happy either of those 2 times.
Right. So we're staying in the standard room Coronado Springs. Is that correct? Back of the resort?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
No, we are. We are saying Grand Floridian. I am also open to a Riviera 1 bedroom.
Are you splurging for club level, or are you just club level is okay? I mean, is it?
I'll do club level. I'll do club level all day long. Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay.
Grand Flow, club level.
We know that you do not rope drop. You do not sleep in. Oh, you sleep. You do sleep in.
I sleep in. I do not.
You're not a rope dropping, and that's okay. You're not an early entry girl. You probably haven't been. You probably haven't known when a park actually opens for about 4 years now. You're like, I don't know. 6:30 a.m., 9 p.m., 9 a.m. I don't know. I have a clue. Right. So you get to the park. You have lightning lane. What are you lightning laning first of all? What are some attractions that your perfect day? You're like, I make sure I have a lightning lane for these attractions.
Well, actually, I'm going to start with breakfast. I'm going to have breakfast probably at the Grand Flow Cafe because I love a breakfast at the Grand Flow Cafe. And then I'm going to have purchased an individual lightning lane for Tron. I'm also going to have some lightning lanes set up. Actually, I mean, probably a Premier Pass.
Are you purchasing Guardians?
Perfect day. What?
Are you purchasing Guardians as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Cause I'm gonna hop. Yeah. So I'm gonna purchase. I'm gonna single pass those 2 attractions.
Okay.
I will lightning lane. Most likely it'll be Thunder, Pirates, and
Haunted Mansion.
Probably Mansion, because those are like my top 3 that I have to get to every single time. Right. So I have to do those 3, and then I think let me see. Beyond that, we'll have a lovely lunch somewhere. Probably I don't really love the lunches. I know. I'll pop over to Wilderness Lodge and I will have down by the lake. Geyser Point. There we go.
Geyser Point. Okay.
Lunch at Geyser Point. Yep.
I've
just
never
grab the boat over. Oh, I love it. I think it's so good. They have a bison burger that's amazing. And it's like I sit down, really nice, just kind of a walk up. And then I'm going to pop over to Epcot. Actually, I'll probably take a nap. Let's be real. And then this is assuming that like I'm not rope dropping, but I'm like still, I'm waking up for breakfast.
Right.
I'll probably take a nap. And then I'll go back over to Epcot. I'll do Guardians. I'll walk around. We'll like do the shops. Dinner. This is a tough one. If I'm planning to stay in the parks, I'll do Le Cellier. Since I'm already in Epcot. But let me be real. I'm probably going to want to like dress up and go to Flying Fish over.
Of course.
That's right.
Of course. As Jen mentioned, she is a dining girl. She is a fine dining. You love your fine dining, and
I do.
It's understandable because this is the kind of food and kind of preparation that you don't really get at home.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I don't get the kind of preparation for flying fish
Absolutely
that you would get there, which is amazing. And so, yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So, and then honestly, that's, that night we might, pop over to a lounge over at the boardwalk. We'll, walk around, if I do indeed end up on the boardwalk, maybe meet up with some friends if they're down there, some of our locals, or, if we happen to know somebody else down there. Sometimes Brady's siblings come along. Well, one of his siblings comes along. So, meet up with them just kind of for some evening laughs or whatnot. And then, I don't care if I get to bed early because I'm in Disney and I can sleep in the next day.
Of course.
I am not rope dropping.
Very good. That is the perfect day. And of course, if you wanted to hear myself and Kyla's perfect day, that was last week's episode, which is why we brought it up here to kind of catch up and everything.
Yeah.
So, very cool. Now, I want to mention this as we close. Thank you to everybody who's listening. October has been the third most downloaded month of this podcast. And it's 4.5-year history, which is good because the summer was a little slow. It was a crazy summer. And, I was looking at, as every podcaster does, you look at the numbers, you're like, ooh, I wish it was a little bit higher. I looked yesterday at October and I was like, wow, October went nuts. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you to everybody out
Everyone's
there.
catching up.
Everybody's catching up on the podcast. So thanks. And of course, Kyla and Heather joining us on a regular basis. Like our quasi producer, Heather, who puts the show on YouTube, which by the way, we're on YouTube. I always forget to mention YouTube, but we're on YouTube. You can stream this show on your television. And as some of our agents, some of our friends do that, they're like, well, just put you on the TV and let you do your thing. And, we're whatever. And our agents' kids love us, by the way. They'll sit and watch our podcast as we're talking. So
don't blame them.
Hi, Grace. Hi, G-Dash. And so, Jen, where can we find you for all the travel fun stuff?
You can find me at Upon a Star Jen, or my personal Instagram is at Jen_Novotny.
Perfect. You can find me at the Magic on $1 on Instagram. Find me at Magic on $1 and Disney on $1 on Facebook. And of course, the MSC podcast on all the places, and Upon a Star Travel on all the places as well, all the social media platforms and stuff. And we have a lot of fun stuff going up there. Plus, go there, uponastartravel.com, and find your favorite travel agents and be like, hey, I want to go to Epic, or hey, I want to go do this tour of fine dining that Jen prescribed, or you know what, I want to go stay at the end. I want to go eat at the End Zone food court at All Star Sports and get my premier pass for Magic Kingdom. Happy to help. So,
you might need to call David Dollar on that one.
I don't see a lot of End Zone food court diners getting the premier pass, but you know what? I think it's awesome.
You never know.
Fantastic. Save money on one and spend it on the other. So for Jen, I am Dave, and hey, don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.